Hey there, horror movie tea sippers.
The following podcast episode will contain spoilers for the movie we are about to review. If you have not seen the movie and do not wish to have anything ruined prematurely, please do not continue to watch or listen until you have seen the movie.
And welcome to the Horror Movie Tea Podcast. Today we are covering Insidious, The Red Door. We skipped over reviewing a few movies because we wanted to do a more recent one. But before we go into the review, let's grab our cups and talk about tea.
To be fair, we did skip a few movies in the Insidious world.
Yeah, we didn't. We've skipped 3 and the key one, which is the fourth one.
But
so we're doing the fifth.
Those were technically prequels.
Fair.
So we continued chronologically.
Fair.
In the series.
Fair. But anyways. I am drinking. I'm doing a repeat. I'm doing the Plum Deluxe Comfort Blend Black Tea. And yes, it is comfort in a cup. Thanks for asking. It's got black tea, cinnamon chips, orange peel, ginger, clove, and orange extract.
I was thirsty, so I needed a new cup of tea. I am drinking Republic of Tea's red tea, Good Hope Vanilla. And it's got rooibos, natural vanilla flavor, and vanilla beans. And this is naturally caffeine free.
Yep. But thank you to the Republic of Tea and Plum Deluxe for allowing us to continue to do what we love. And for our tea sippers out there, brew yourself a cup of tea, sit back, relax, and we hope you enjoy the review. So for the summary is pretty straightforward.
Oh, yeah.
So it's
It's like 10 years later.
Yeah. So, oh man, I should know the kid's name. Dalton, thank you. Dalton is going to college, and if you recall, he was the one in the first movie that went into the quote-unquote coma because he had been kidnapped by the lipstick demon. That's how he...
I know, but it makes me giggle every time.
I know, it's so stupid.
So dumb.
Yeah, but anyways... And he's going to art school, and he's doing like these really beautiful, like deep, like charcoal drawings. And the art instructor is kind of like almost having them do like a meditation and kind of like settle like deeper within their mind. And he like draws, and it's a door, and stuff starts like happening. And I guess one thing to note is like the parents, I hate when series do this, but the parents got divorced. And so Dalton and his father, Patrick Wilson, that's his name? It's well, I know the actor's name, but his in movie name is Josh. They are not on the best of terms. Oh, Navi. Anyway, my cat is yowling. She's normally so quiet.
She's so anxious today, poor kitty.
She is anxious. She had to vacuum and... Anyways. But like stuff starts happening, and they still don't remember the whole thing because it plays right off of the second movie where they were made to forget again about like being able to go into the further. But then they like stuff starts happening, and it's the mom, I don't know, or the. Anyway, they start remembering, or are being told, and the lipstick demon takes Dalton, and the father goes in and saves him again, and then they reconcile, and the end. But I do...
We need to look up the summaries before we do these.
Yeah, sorry. This is the last one that I'll. Anyways, entertainment. Oh shoot, the counter. Sorry. I'm gonna have such a good time editing this episode.
Episode's a mess.
Sorry. Yep. Yep. Okay. So entertainment. I will say. So keep in mind, this is the 5th movie in the Insidious series.
Yeah.
The 3rd one was so-so. 4th one, absolutely terrible.
Yeah.
The first 2 were really solid. Like, honestly, I like the 2nd one even better.
I was about to say, the first one was all right. The second one was definitely more solid.
Yeah, so in the tier of movies, I would say that this one goes right under a 3rd for me. Where
Right under 3rd?
or it like 1st, 2nd, and then this movie to me is like number 3 as far as like how good it is compared to the other ones in the series.
Okay.
And the reason why I say that is like they go back to being fairly good at like expanding on the characters, making them feel realistic. Like, even without them blatantly telling you, like later on in the movie, that they got a divorce, right when you see the interaction between Josh and his wife, I forgot her name. But anyways, you can just immediately tell that something is off, and my immediate thought was, oh, they're divorced. Mm-hmm. And then especially whenever they were writing in separate cards, like they give you little clues without being like, oh yeah, they got divorced, and then they show it to you.
Well, especially how the kids are kind of avoiding him too.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, you can tell something's off.
Yeah.
And I like the fact that they don't like shovel that information immediately into your throat before like really showing it. Mm-hmm. I was a little sad that they killed off the mom. But it did bring a point to the movie where it kind of made them have to deal with it on their own in a lot of ways. Because they didn't have Elise, at least much, because she's dead as well. And then they didn't have the mother, and they yeah. Anyways, I did. Sorry. Yep. I did enjoy, though, the additional characters that they brought in. Like, the art teacher was just like, I love how eccentric they made her.
Yes.
And it's like, you're like, that, 100%
She's
believable.
brutal, too.
Yeah, 100% believable that's an art teacher.
Oh, yeah.
A college art teacher, I should say.
Yeah.
Or professor.
She did not play.
Yeah, and I loved his one night roommate. Like, she had like a really strong personality that was really
awesome.
likable.
Oh my god, I loved her. She was the best.
Yeah, I love when she first comes in and they're like, "This is kind of strange," and
Yeah.
the roommate's like, "You know,
It's
I don't care."
a liberal art school.
Yeah, it's like, who cares?
Emphasis on the liberal.
Yeah. So I really liked.
She didn't give a fuck.
Like, honestly, like, aside from this being a scary movie, I was just enjoying it as a movie.
Yes.
Like, I was enjoying it unrolling into a scary movie.
Yes, and I totally ship those two.
Yes. Like, that's the thing I really do enjoy about the Insidious series, at least the first, second, and then now this 5th movie, is they are really good at just making it a good, solid story. Mm-hmm. And it's just, the horror element is just like a bonus.
Yes. It's a solid movie.
Yes.
Apart from the horror aspect, is what you were saying. Yes.
Mm-hmm. And, like, the one thing, and I will say at the end, I really like the fact that they're like, it's not about forgetting what we're capable of. It's like it's almost like a parallel to like reconciling with each other. And I really like how they paralleled that, because I did think that was honestly, like, at the end of the second movie, whenever they had them forget again, I was like, how do they know that this is permanent? Like, And they, of course, demonstrated it's like, no, it's not. So it's like now they've resolved it in a way that's like, okay, we're good.
Yeah, they had put a Band-Aid over it before.
Right. Oh shit, I lost my thought. This is great. This is wonderful.
I have concerns. So what rating would you give it?
So as far as a rating, like, this one's difficult. Because, like, as far as story, I was way more interested in the story than the scares.
Oh, yeah.
And as far as the scares go, I don't feel like they were quite as solid as they had been. But I did enjoy, I don't know, I'm sure you noticed it. Like, whenever Patrick Wilson or Josh was sitting in his car, you saw a figure in the background.
Oh, yeah.
And I was just staring at it, ready for something to happen, and it never did. Like, I like that they still continue to not go straight into just, like, jump scares. They, like, give you that, like, build up and then don't give you that release. I love that they do that. And that they've, even 5 movies in, that they continue to do that. So the scares in this movie definitely aren't as strong as the first 2, but they're still a lot better than a lot of other like scary movies on the market. And then the just the enjoyment of the story itself. Oh, this one's hard. I'm dancing between a 7.5 and a 7.75, but I don't think it quite deserves a 7.75. But it is like a very solid 7.5 for me. Like, I will be watching this movie again, but I'm going to watch the first 2 more often. But, you know, it could be like a fun, like, trilogy
kind of.
Yeah, it's like, screw the 3rd and 4th movie. I mean, you know, canonically, as you said, they're not like...
they're
like
prequels.
chronological. Yeah. But honestly, I feel like you can totally just skip those and just stick with like the first 2 and then the 5th movie.
They don't really add much to the series. I know they were trying to build more off of Elise and everything, but it just didn't make sense to do so.
Yeah, but we'll maybe cover those one day.
Yeah.
But yeah, solid movie, especially for being a 5th movie.
Oh yeah.
But not as good as the original 2.
So rating it was a little easier for me. I give it a solid 7. I will watch it again, but not so much for the horror aspect. The movie itself was, like, the story itself was what I was more watching it for.
Yeah.
The scares, like you said, are not quite as solid. There wasn't as much creep factor as the first 2.
Yeah, like the first 2, there were times where I'd be like, "Oh my god!" Like you, like really feel it. But this one, I don't think there was a single moment that I was really like creeped out or scared.
Yeah. Well, especially with the Further.
Yeah,
like in
the
the first 2 movies in the Further, you would see other figures and other ghosts, essentially, other spirits, and they were just, it was almost like Uncanny Valley. Like, it was just slightly off, and it was just unnerving.
Yeah.
We got almost none of that here.
Yeah, just got that stupid jump scare at the end of the lipstick demon going through the hole of the door. Like, that was...
Yeah, that wasn't much. So, and you got to see a little bit of, like, from the past, what happened and everything. But even that didn't quite jive, and we'll get to that realism.
Like the whole...
We'll get to that in the realism.
Yep.
Wait your turn. But the story itself was interesting, and it keeps you engaged. I do like that they did keep some of the background kind of things, like the figure in the car. And also when he's playing the matching game on the window.
Yes.
You see
I
the
knew
guy, his dad,
Yes.
across the street, and then he moves the thing back, and then he lifts it up again, and he's right there under the tree.
Yeah.
And then he puts him down, and then he starts taking them all off, and there's no guy there in an orange shirt anymore.
Yeah, and there's no
you
release
start thinking,
for that.
okay, well,
Yeah.
maybe nothing's actually going to happen, and then the window breaks. So they play around with you a little bit there. I like that they did kind of resolve some of the issues that he had as well. Like, he healed some of his childhood, thinking that his dad abandoned them and everything, when really he was trying to get help and checked himself into a mental institution. And then to try to protect his family, he wanted it to end with him. So he ended his life, or unalived himself, unfortunately. But it obviously didn't end there. And there was that moment at the end of the movie where he got to see his father.
Yeah.
And there was some resolution there as well. So I like that they try to make it a point in this movie to destigmatize men specifically getting mental help.
Yeah, and I like that whole dynamic with him or Josh and his father. It didn't feel forced. It felt fairly natural.
That one felt fairly organic. And I also love that Dalton was the one that suggested, have you ever thought of getting help maybe?
Yeah.
Because the dad's like, I'm just powering through. I'll figure it out. I'm just in a fog. Basically making excuses. Because that's kind of what it was.
Yeah.
But there's been such a stigma about men getting help and showing emotion and being emotionally mature. So I'm very glad that this movie tries to show that it's good for men to get help as well. Like, it's okay for them to show emotion.
And even with that message, it doesn't feel forced.
It really doesn't.
Like, because you see Josh going through suffering, and it's from that suffering that he realizes, like, okay, I do need help.
I need help. Yeah. I need to figure it out. Yep. And he does try first to see if there's a medical reason versus psychological of what's going on with him. But once he rules that out, okay, yeah, there's something mental that I need help with.
That scene was not okay.
See, that I felt like was one of the more kind of scares.
Maybe it's because, like, MRI machines in general just, like, kind of ook me out because you're, like, closed in.
Yeah, they're not fun.
Trapped. Yeah. I've never been in one, but
they're loud as hell, too. Loud as hell. And I didn't get the headphones that he got. But, yeah, I feel like it wasn't quite necessary, personally. But it is interesting how they discover astral projection and he's exploring it, and at first it's kind of this cool ability and all, and it's almost a parallel from the first movie I floated away tonight, I watched myself sleep, and then I flew away. So that was a nice little callback there of, this is a cool little weird dream type thing, and then he realizes it wasn't a dream, that really happened. That's really cool. This is a neat ability.
I like how
and then there's both danger.
Dalton and Josh, like, are able to start doing that, just like in completely separate ways, because I feel like that was a whole scene with the MRI is like Josh was almost like settling like within himself, and the ghosts are like, ooh.
And like you, I appreciate the resolution from the second movie, because I really didn't like in that one how they basically did, like I said, put a Band-Aid on it.
Yeah. Yep.
Because that's a temporary measure. I was sitting there wondering, okay, well, even if it does work for them, what if Dalton has a kid and they can astral project? And then they're in this whole situation again.
Yeah.
So that doesn't really fix anything.
Yep.
It just kind of sweeps it under the rug. And that's basically what happened with the relationship between the parents and even with the dad and the kids, because they had seen the dad chasing them around. They didn't explain to them what happened and all and try to fix it. So the mom was basically left alone and trying to keep things together. And that's too much for one person. That's way too much for one person.
Yeah.
So it's not surprising that they got divorced. It was sad that that happened, but at the end it looked like they might have a chance to get back together. They've got some stuff to work out for sure.
Yeah.
So that was nice. And I really like the progression of the art piece with the door.
Yeah, that was
And how you
cool.
see a figure there and how they used that scene with the hammer.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
That was well done. So there are things that this movie did really, really well and other things that it fell just a little short on.
Yeah.
It definitely fell a little short on the horror thing. I also didn't appreciate the vomit in the face. That was unnecessary. Again, why do you need to show it? Why? It's just gross. It's not scary. It's just disgusting. And there's a difference. There's a big difference.
Yeah.
So, stop.
Yeah. That's even worse than jump scares to me.
They're on the same level to me. They're on the same level. And there were most of the scares, not all, but most of the scares, quote unquote, in this movie were jump scares, which are annoying. But, you know. But that's what I got. It's just a solid 7 for me. But for one of the sequels,
Especially
the
fifth in a series, absolutely
Pretty
amazing.
decent.
This is the type of level that I would expect from a sequel.
Oh, yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah.
But their sequel is even like
I liked
better than
their
the first.
sequel better than the first, for sure. Like I
Yeah.
said before. This one, story-wise, I actually think I might prefer it a little more than the second. But all round, I think I prefer the second just a bit more. I do actually prefer this one to the first, though.
Oh, really?
Mostly for the story. But yeah. Mhm. The roommate makes it, man.
Yeah, she is pretty awesome.
Love the roommate.
Yeah.
She's amazing.
Well, and then they like expand on the story like so solidly before they even bring in the scares. It's just like, yeah, you just want to know the story. It's just they do such a good. I wish more horror movies did
There's
that.
enough juicy lore.
Yeah, give us the juice.
Yes. We want the tea.
Realism's a toughie. Because, like, just like
Yeah.
with the first and second, the way that, like, the characters interact with each other, their relationships, it feels very realistic, very tangible. Like, it's like you've seen these people type of thing, or you've gone through a similar situation. So, and I love the fact, kind of building upon that, I love the fact that they don't make the mom absolutely despise the ex-husband.
Yeah, it's still mostly an amicable relationship.
Yeah, like it is, I would say the majority of divorces, the pair that is no longer together don't hate each other.
Yeah.
It's just like, if you've lived long enough and you realize you've grown apart or whatever, you separate. It doesn't have to be this hateful, vengeful thing. And I feel like especially movies are so bad about that.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Where, like,
well, even
yeah.
if it's not so much an amicable split, they can still remain civil to
Right.
each other, especially where the kids are concerned. Like, they
Right.
don't badmouth the other person, especially in front of the kids.
Right. Yeah.
Like, you can be adults about it.
Yes.
You don't have to be super petty or spiteful or vindictive or anything.
Yeah.
Now, there are some situations where I can definitely see it being justified.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
But But on the whole, like you said, the majority of them, you can at least remain civil.
Yeah, because I feel like so many movies is like, oh, well, he cheated on me.
Oh, they lean heavily
Yeah.
into the outlier kind of
Yeah, but it's like, it's okay. It's like, you know, if you got married when you were like both 18 or whatever, super young, and then it's been 10 to 15 years, it's like you are not the same person that you started.
People grow and change.
Yeah, so it's like, it's okay if, you know, you can't stay together because you're too different, or it's like, you know.
Well, also, a relationship of any kind takes work.
Right.
And not just on one person's part. It is a two-way street.
Yeah. But it's also the situation where it's like, even with like couples counseling and stuff, it's like,
it happens.
It just happens where you're like, well, you know, we still like each other, but we just can't, like,
we don't feel that way anymore.
Yeah.
It's not the same.
Yeah. So that was really refreshing.
Yes,
that
it was.
They, made that dynamic. As far as, and I really like the way that they had like Josh's story go, where it's like he's obviously struggling, he obviously needs help, but then he also comes to the realization that it's like, I need help. And then the progress of him going like, oh, I'm going to seek out a doctor. And so that was really refreshing too, and that felt like realistic.
Yes.
It's like, I love that they are like promoting like these healthier versions of reality without like beating you over the head with it, of like any sort of messaging.
It's not saying you absolutely need to do this. It's these options are available.
Yeah.
If you feel like you need them. And it's not a bad thing if you do need a little bit of help.
Yeah.
There are plenty of people that go to therapy and they don't necessarily need to heal anything. They just want to talk to someone and they want to better themselves and work on themselves. So there's nothing wrong with it at all.
Yeah. As far as people goes, I feel like the least realistic person is probably the roommate. But it's like there are people, I don't know,
I've met a couple like them
that are like eccentric enough that would probably still be like, but she was definitely like pushing into being like almost like the Elise's like assistants, where they're like,
dude, no, I picture her as an extrovert that adopts an introvert. You know exactly what I'm talking about, too.
Yeah.
That's how it works. An extrovert finds an introvert that they like, and they adopt them. And then they're like, I shall help you, and we shall do things together.
Fair,
and the introvert
fair.
is like, why?
Why? But it's like, as far as actual realism, I mean, you know, the further and all of that, taking that all into, you know, a way.
Allowing for
Yes.
the further and astral projection stuff.
There's really not anything that sticks out as unrealistic. The only thing that was a little bit odd was the fact that Dalton and the roommate even became roommates in the first place. It's like, I would assume that the college isn't going by name, but is going by gender marker, and then splitting up people from there. But I don't know how college dorms work.
I don't know.
Never been to one, so. But I would assume
there could
that
be
that's the
some
case.
out there that maybe they have the option of I don't care,
Yeah, that's fair.
but I'm not entirely sure.
I would feel like that would be a potential liability for. I don't know.
Potentially, I don't know.
It's like they're
It
technically
did
both
feel a little
adults, so-
weird, but I don't know. I still loved it though.
Yeah, it was a funny moment.
She was definitely my favorite character in the movie.
But really, the thing that felt the most forced about the movie, that I don't know if this connects more into realism or entertainment, But it's like in the first and second movie, the second movie was so good at connecting back to the scenes in the first movie, and it feels like 100% believable. And it's like, oh my God, that makes so much sense. Like, I'm pretty sure they probably built they almost had already the second movie in mind, and that's how they were able to get them connected. But with this one, they tried to connect the scenes from the earlier movies to this one, and it didn't. It's like it didn't really need to be there.
Well, also, if I recall correctly, in the second movie, when Josh gets knocked over, it's Elise that was like holding a chair in the further. Mm-hmm. Like she beat him in the head with a chair.
Or like when the alarm goes off.
So it wasn't Dalton that tackled him.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, this movie, I don't know why they decided, like...
Quit changing the rules.
It didn't add to the movie at all that they were trying to connect it
really
back.
didn't,
Now, the second movie, it added to it. But with this one, it took away, I feel like.
I mean, I could understand him having that flashback so that he could recall what actually happened and make sense of what he was drawing. But have it be from Kid Dalton's point of view. It would make more sense.
Yeah.
And then maybe show that scene of Elise bashing him in the head to wake him up.
Yeah.
So it would have more continuity and it would make a bit more sense. So be consistent is what we're asking.
Yeah. That's my biggest complaint.
So,
Oh, man, realism. I'm just going to commit to a 3.5.
I give it a 3.
Okay.
Considering setting aside
The further
things.
Ghost demons.
Yes. And building off of that same universe from the first two movies, it stayed mostly consistent with things, and the progression of the interactions and everything made sense, mostly. Going into a meditative state for his art, I'm a little surprised that he didn't unlock some of those memories sooner.
Yeah.
Especially since he seemed really excited to learn from this professor, which means he knew about her and probably watched some videos from her or at least heard about her methods and things. Why wouldn't he have tried some of them beforehand?
Fair. Yeah.
So the fact that it happened right then in class, like, just seems a little convenient and more of a movie's got a movie kind of moment. Especially since Josh is starting to unlock those memories at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah, the whole, like, doing it at the same time
it was convenient.
Quinky dink.
For sure. Also, the power going out kind of thing.
Oh.
Why?
Yeah.
That made no sense.
Yeah.
None. There weren't enough spirits in the further around campus when he was doing his little traveling. Just personally, from, the previous movies, whenever they would travel, they would see random things wherever they were. So, and you kind of had to, like, not pay attention to them and get to where you needed to go quickly.
Yeah.
But he encountered none the first time. He was also able to, like, lift... Was the piano thing just hovering in the air? I mean, in the first two movies, like, the walker would move or something, but it was a quick thing. So I guess they were trying to kind of allude to that or call back to that, but it just seemed a little weird.
Yeah.
I do like that they brought her song back into it.
Yeah.
That was sweet. I don't know. All in all, it just kind of misses the mark a little bit, and there's enough little things throughout it that no. And even as eccentric as the roommate chick is, Chris, the way the frat guys responded to her made no sense whatsoever.
Yeah.
Objectively speaking, she's gorgeous. Just saying. Like, there was no reason for them to call her a clown.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't understand that.
It would have
dynamic
made
either.
sense if she was wearing like a ton of makeup or something, like really heavy, gaudy makeup or something. But she was gorgeous.
The only thing I can think of, because that whole school was supposed to be a liberal arts school, is that right? Yeah, so it's like, I don't understand. I almost feel like it's almost like jocks versus like the liberal arts students, but it's like, but they would technically be, yeah.
Because then in a later scene, you see that same dude with cracked face mask, by the way, doing like English homework and discussing poems and things with a chick in his room. So
I don't know. Honestly, all of the frat boys were like really annoying.
Yeah.
I could have done without them.
Well, and again, I'm sure not all fraternities are like this, but they do lean heavily into that stereotype with this movie. Yes. We also see maybe 3 frat guys in that whole house.
Yeah.
Did they not have the budget for more actors? Could pull some college students off the street, I'm pretty sure. But okay. Yeah. So I give it a 3 for realism.
Yeah, that's fair. But yeah, it's like overall, like especially being a 5th movie, we can't harp on this enough. Especially for being a 5th movie, this is like a really solid movie. Yeah. And like chronologically, it being the 3rd movie, it definitely feels like a third. It doesn't feel like jammed together.
No,
like,
it feels like a natural continuation. Yeah. I love that they use the same actors.
Yes.
For the kids especially.
Yes.
Like they didn't get brand new people. They legitimately waited 10 years and used the same actors. Yeah. That was great.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was fantastic.
Yeah, that was very nice.
So there was still that same chemistry, that organic feeling.
Yeah.
So that was nice.
Yeah. So it's like, I definitely, like, if you enjoy the Insidious series, I think this one's like a good one to watch if you haven't watched it. It's not as bad as the Key one and the Elise one, and yeah. Or are they the same one?
I don't even really remember
like, I know
the 3rd one.
The 3rd one is the girl that like got hit by a car. And it's like an old man that's like trying to...
I think I blinked out on that movie.
That one I have watched like a handful of times because there are like some good scenes, but...
It's such a void in my mind.
Yeah. Yep.
But we'll get to those at some point eventually, I'm sure.
Yeah. But thank you for joining us today, and let us know what you thought of the movie. I would be really curious to hear your ranking of the Insidious movies. Because it's like, for me, it's like, second one is first one is second, 5th one is third one is fourth, third one is fourth one is 5th. For me, as far as yep. Anyways, if you'd like to recommend a movie, game, or tea, you can leave us a comment or join our Discord server. And if you'd like to keep up to date with our content, you can find our link tree listed below.
We also encourage our viewers that if you are having some troubles in your life, please reach out to someone that can assist. Even if it's just a friend, family member, but mental sources are available as well. Please seek help. It's not a bad thing. It's okay to not be okay.
Yeah. I'm definitely one of those people that's like, everybody needs to go to therapy. Everyone. Everyone has something that they need to talk about.
I feel like there is benefit from it, even if you feel like you don't have any trauma that you need to heal.
Yeah. It like gives you the tools to navigate like stressful situations
Yes,
better, even if you're not
absolutely.
necessarily going through something like super hard yourself.
It helps to have someone to talk to, someone objective to
Yes,
talk
someone
to.
objective, yes.
And also, if you'd like to support us monetarily, we have a Teespring and a PayPal donate button, or we have our affiliate link with Plum Deluxe and Republic of Tea available. Again, it does not affect the price of the tea for either site at all. It just allows us to continue to do what we love. And you'll find all of those sites mentioned linked below. But until the next time, guys, stay safe and stay spoopy. Bye.